Your event is
Ayun, ayun
starting.
na, ayun na.
Live. Okay, refresh. Refresh natin. Baka may problema yata sa preview. And live na.
Ay, nako.
Live na.
Kanina may countdown pa nga. 15 minutes na countdown.
Ayun.
Okay na. Yes.
Parang lag.
Ganun talaga, lag. Kasi HLS yung ano. So ngayon, kailangan natin i-record na lang. Dito, re-record natin.
Naka-live yan tayo ngayon ah. Kaya...
Mukhang ano, nagamit ako ng servers ninyo pag nag-air. Kasi kulang may ano kayo, kulang may pag-bawal. Hindi, kulang may talaga yung naglalaro. May akakalo lang.
Ano may pansin doon? Australia, di ba yung
Recorded in live stream.
Yeah.
Siya ba na? Hindi kinukuha sa hindi.
Wala.
Ano sabi? Hindi sa babae. Hindi mo sa mukha.
Bumaba na ako na ano.
Maybe tatakbo.
Para sa gano'n. Hindi ko alam yung bayaran.
Google Send. Yung live streaming ba? Si Sai. Nilalala ko sa Shine eh. Kasi iba. Hindi, sabi na si Mai Sai. Yung yung line niya. Diba, kasi
Grabe eh, hindi ko kailangan magtawag, oh. Pumunta agad sila dito.
Sinet up ko na eh.
Maliwanag tayo kasi ako na maingay ah.
Para maliwanag. Naka-turtle neck. Cycle view, parang
turtle neck ka.
Yung parang sa
Ako Steve Jobs yun.
Ay,
Ano yung at least
Probably, baka na siya.
wait, ano yung link? Para ka lang na-try mo na, nag-work.
Yes, ma'am. Dito sa
Naku, paano nga ba dito? Ba't hindi ako makapag-link dito?
live stream.
Okay naman. Okay ano.
Yun, pre.
Kunwari, i-link ko to.
Hindi na. I-paste mo lang sa body ng ano, ng message mo yung
Kasi mismo, hindi yung...
tapos magiging ano siya.
Hindi ko alam kung ano yung mga bayaran na nagtuturo.
Tapos magiging, sa akin naging attachment siya kanina eh.
Sana kaya...
Tapos
Hindi siya pwedeng yung parang...
Sa mo. Sa issue ka na muna.
Ah, ito.
Ano nakapag-delay.
Okay na ba?
Yes.
The iCascade. Participate. View the iCascade.
Pero nakabaon na to.
Via live streaming.
on na lang nila yung
Live ko tayo ng dalawa ng mga din sa matagal. Kasi kumakain tayo. Tayo ng dalawa nandun.
Talaga?
Oo nga. Pati yung in-upload hanggang doon. Hindi tayo ng
Okay, send. Promise.
Hindi mo sabihin ng pogi talaga.
Send ko na lang sa...
Foreigner yan, pre. Foreign.
Saan na yung microphone mo? Kailangan mo na kayo. Meron ka bang USB? Gusto ko ng click.
Ay, YouTube na ka. Matik lang. Ito na. Oh, live na lang sa YouTube, pre.
Promise?
We're live.
Uy, ano live?
Nasaan na yung registration? Good afternoon, everyone! Excited ka? Sige, excited. Good afternoon! I'm so happy that I don't need to call you to go inside this room. I know you're all excited. I am also very excited. This is our first time to go live streaming. So that the people in Facebook who will not be able to come today can view the live streaming of our first speaker. Binitig daw, si Ayne. Sobrang excited kasi, kahit ako sobrang excited kasi I want to hear what Ayne has to say about her learning experiences when she went to Google. Okay, so meron ka registration sheet, please sign. It's yun. Next time online na din registration natin, okay? And evaluation online, okay? So without further ado, I'm leaving the floor and we are also recording so that you can review. Yes, okay? That's I encourage you to ask questions later para makita din kayo sa camera. Artista. Okay. Thank you. Here's Ayne. Palakpakan natin si Ayne.
So, hello everyone. I'll introduce myself first. So, my name is Ayne. I am from the Client Engineering Department. So, I'm maybe the lucky one to get to Google. So, I'll try my best to share my journey or hello. Yeah. So, to share my journey and experience in Google I/O and in AnDevCon. So, okay. So day zero, of course, the registration. The funny thing is, on day zero, I thought the registration was at 7 a.m. So I lined up early, but I was surprised that the line is already up to here. So like 1 block long already. So because people went early for the registration to get a Keynote access, because not everyone in the event can enter the hall where they know. So here are the but the night before the Google conducted a women Techmaker dinner. So I met some ladies finally, because in the AnDevCon, as you can see, everyone is a guy or yeah. So
Or what?
I don't know, maybe gay, I don't know. So we're still outnumbered in the Google I/O event in terms of the men and women attendees, but in Google I/O there are a lot of women attending already. So yeah, some of them are designers, some are from the media company. So this girl here, she's from do you know the app cleaner? Yeah, so she came from that company. So it's originally in Beijing. So, and this one is a UI designer. This one is a developer as well. So yeah. And in the Techmaker dinner, they gave us a Gemma toolkit. So with this, you can create your own wearable. So this is a programmable via the Arduino IDE. So I already gave to the client engineer. So I hope you experiment on it. So the founder of this kit is also a woman. So her name is
Gemma?
No, way more fried. So yeah, there. So I'll show you a video on what you can do. Gemma toolkit.
Gemma, Adafruit's tiny, sewable microcontroller. It's small and round, like a bite-sized version of Flora, and inexpensive enough to leave embedded in your projects. Gemma is similar to Trinket. You can program its AT-Tiny85 chip over USB using the Arduino IDE. Gemma's round shape and big pads make it perfect for sewing into a garment soldering, like in our Space Face LED makeup project, Iron Man arc reactor, and NeoPixel hoop earrings. Gemma can drive 50 or more NeoPixels. It has a 3.3 volt regulator and 3 I/O pins, including one analog input and capable PWM. It's easy to power Gemma with a battery pack or a LiPoly battery through its onboard JST connector. There's also a green power indicator LED and a red LED connected to pin 1. In between, there's a reset button. Gemma can interface with I2C devices like our LED matrix backpacks to make a Space Invader necklace, for example. We've got lots of Gemma tutorials on the Adafruit Learning System. Just search Gemma at learn.adafruit. Subscribe to the Adafruit channel on YouTube to keep up to date with what's going on at the Adafruit factory, where Gemma is designed, manufactured, tested, and then sent out to customers like you.
So there, I took a selfie while waiting for the keynote to start. But I want to show you a video for the pre-keynote, because I don't think you can find it in the internet. So inside the like the auditorium, there's these two guys playing a game. So it's like a ping pong, and then it's displayed on the parang widescreen dun sa auditorium. Sorry, medyo magulo yung video. And this one too. They've got a pretty cool introductory countdown. That guy in front of me is from Dropbox. And then when Google announced the only photo storage, well, his face got, so sad. Because he was wearing his Dropbox shirt, and then he was a bit intimidated by the announcement.
Longest 6 seconds.
And so let's start with the keynote. So they introduced the Android M preview, but I think up until now they still haven't named what M is. So what they highlighted for the Android M, so it's the new OS for Android, is the permissions. It's pretty much like the one in iOS, where you will only grant access for a permission when you're using it actually. For example, when you're using the camera, that's the only time you will allow access. So in Android, it's not like that before. When you install the APK file from the Google Play Store, you once you accept it, you grant everything already, even if you're not using them. So they also show the app links API, allowing apps to register to natively handle URLs. So before, when you click a URL, let's say it's twitter.com, in your Android phone, there will be a pop-up dialog that will ask you to choose which application will open the link, if it's the browser or the Twitter app. So now, if you have your own URL, let's say bubble.com, you can register that that URL to your app, so that when the user clicks bubble.com and you are in your Android phone, it will automatically open your Bubble app instead of your Chrome browser. And they improve the battery performance in Android M, though I think it's not the first time that they tried improving battery performance in Android, but they have this dosing the device when left attended for a while. So they implemented a very intelligent motion detection in the phone. So when the phone is left on top of the table for a long time, even if the user will not activate the dose, the system will automatically dose your phone to conserve battery. So this one is the app links API I was talking about earlier. So it's not only an application implementation. In your website server, you need to register this in the statements.json file to actually own the URL. And then in Android M, they improved the Google Now. They call it Now on Tap. Before, the Google Now can only be accessed when you swipe from left to right in your home screen. So now, for example, you have a message, and then in this example, like what's that? For example, it's about location. So you can just tap on your home button, and then automatically now the Google Now will pop up and show suggestions. And they also introduced Android Pay. So Android Pay works in any NFC-enabled Android device with Android KitKat. So have you heard about Google Wallet before? So from what I've read or heard from other attendees, Android Pay is like their another attempt on making payments in mobile better, because Google Wallet didn't do pretty much well. So this one is like a new approach for them. Though Google Wallet is still working, but Google Wallet will only work mostly on the Play Store in your phone. But Android Pay has already partnered with a lot of stores and companies, so you can use your Android phones for paying. And together with that, they released a new API in M. It's called the Fingerprint API. So for us developers, we can also leverage on the Fingerprint API already. For example, in Paymaya, before authorizing the purchase, you can ask for the Fingerprint API before succeeding. But this girl, the Googler that demoed the Fingerprint API, in her Nexus phone, she has to install, of course, a fingerprint reader, because our phones doesn't have any fingerprint mechanism yet. So hopefully, I think for the next generations of devices, they'll be releasing phones with fingerprint reader already. And then they also showcase the Android Wear. So one is the Google Fit. So what's amazing with Google Fit is it just not only does it track your, let's say, your steps, number of steps or walk. It can also track your different exercises like squats, burpees, curls, etc. And according to them, they're already partnering with various fashion brands like Nike for this. They also upgraded the Android wear. Previously, they gave out Motorola 360 and LG watches to the attendees, but now they just upgraded the applications that you can use in your watch. So now you can use Google Maps as well, and they have this like a fancy a fancy like gesture tracking that if you draw an umbrella in the screen of your watch, automatically it will show an emoji umbrella. So, but I didn't get to video that part anymore. So they also announced the Project Brillo, their platform for the Internet of Things. So they showed us the new protocol called Wave. So when they showed it to us, it's just like a JSON type of protocol as well. And then according to them, they will be certifying Wave devices. So for example, if you want to buy in your house like any device that, for example, controls your curtain or anything, you can also look for devices that have Wave certification on it. And then, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, they announced that day that they'll be giving out free unli storage for the Google Photos. So, the amazing part in the Photos is that it can curate your photos instantly without you having to do it manually. So, in my case, on that day, I was surprised that when I tried Google Photos, automatically he curated a collection for me, a trip to Singapore, even if I didn't really sort them myself. So, and for example, if I need to find a picture, like for example, me riding a bike, even if I just type me and then riding a bike, automatically he will show you a picture of you riding a bike. So, pretty cool technology right there. And then they also announced the network quality estimator. So it's just like adaptive web loading. So for example, my connection is slow. You can now opt to enable this feature so that they will load a lesser or a lighter version of the web page. And then offline YouTube and offline maps and offline navigation. And then, so after the keynote, I looked around for different booths. So one of the projects that caught my attention is the project Jacquard. So I'll play the video first. It's
What I find fascinating about textiles is that the structure of textiles is the same to the structure of touchscreens, which we're using in everyday mobile devices and tablets. That means that if you just replace some of the threads in textile with conductive threads, you should be able to weave the textile and recognize a variety of simple touch gestures, just like any normal touch panel you have in a mobile phone. So if you can hide or weave interactivity and input devices into the materials, that will be the first step to making computers and computing invisibly integrated into the objects and materials and clothing. So this is exciting to me. The challenge of creating Jacquard yarn was to create yarn that is highly conductive and at the same time scalable, which means it could be used on industrial weaving machines everywhere in the world.
textile designers or fashion designers or furniture designers, it is interesting because it's something you're very familiar with. It's just textile. We made the yarn very thin and feels so natural, so it looks like just normal yarn. The only thing's different is it's conductive. We work with textile designers from all over the world, and it's really interesting to see what kind of possibilities that we can have to be visible very obviously, like it's here. But also can be totally invisible. So we're creating possibilities by combining different way of weaving technique, and that's totally up to designers to choose, and it's up to their creativity.
We're trying to shrink down all the components down to the size of a button, and ultimately this will be something that's so small we can embed into the manufacturing process. So the users won't even see it or feel it inside the garment.
The idea that Jacquard is an interface that is blended into the clothing that we wear, that has an implication in the way that you would use services, products, applications, and anything that we do through our devices. It's somehow getting the technology out of the way and making interactions more natural and more seamless.
In terms of what the technology can do, it's really up to the user and to the designers, and we expect that users can reconfigure it as much as they want to. Software development and fashion design often don't exist in the same place, so we're hoping to make it very simple for each of those parties to collaborate, and we're hoping to provide both software and hardware knowledge and components to make those collaborations very easy.
We like to think that we have these iconic products that haven't changed much, but the world is changing. So I think Jacquard presents a great opportunity for a brand, for design, to open a door to the future.
In tailoring, we use methods that have been used and not changed for 200 years. So when something new comes along, it's really exciting. What's amazing about the project is that I don't have to have any knowledge about the electronics and how it works. So let's see what we can create with it.
Jacquard is a blank canvas. The designers and developers, we are just at the beginning, and we are really excited to see what people are going to do with it.
So I'll show you a video because I got to experience the real
open contact.
So here, I tried it while I was there. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. They did a very good job in embedding the hardware in the cloth. Because I tried to lift the cloth and it's really thin. So as you can see, when I touch that area, the music played. And then when I swipe it, the music changes as well. So it's really cool. So, I'm picking the Team Saffron from Idea Space. So I hope you can learn from this. And here's another video for the one. So when I showed this video to Sai, he has this great idea. Because actually, it's just it's not only applicable to fashion or to clothes. Because when you go when you go downstairs, you see the TV like the gesture control. So you can actually put this kind of cloth in your, for example, in your sofa, and make your seat the remote control itself, right? So right now you can. So it has many potential, not just fashion.
Magiting sa lugar na sinipin. Good idea.
So this is their booth in the event in Moscone.
How much per yard?
How much per yard? And the cloth or the yarn it's actually washable. So yeah, conductive threads, stuff like that. Yeah. And in the keynote, they also upgraded the cardboard. So later I'll ask you to try it. So I'll show you a video first.
As Sundar said,
But let's move to the. One of the main use of cardboard is the educational tool.
So much more enriching than just showing you a picture or just having to read about it.
This device can actually make us so expressive.
It brings the best seeds for yourself to be.
There's so much other things that you see, so you know that it's
And then I got a chance to meet the Googler, the developer who created the cardboard app in iOS. It's funny because he saw me trying to figure out how to use the iPhone in cardboard. Wow. Because there's a bug in his app that if the iPhone is not set to auto rotate, the cardboard app cannot launch. So I realized they're also humans because they have those kind of bugs as well. But he's really friendly because he's the one who approached me, and he actually gave his calling card.
Yeah.
Anyone? So to select a menu, you move like that and then click the.
Uy, babatumba ka ha.
That trip, choose the trip mode or.
Taas.
Sa taas.
On the right.
Sit and front, right?
Or what do you see ba?
My videos, photosphere,
And
Earth, Bigly,
yeah, tour guide.
Tour guide. Oh!
You. click it again to go to another place.
Oh.
So it's like traveling around the world. You just click the
Lagad bro, lagad. Ikaw, mahulog ako.
Thank you.
Who else wanna try?
Kim na. Kim.
Wala. Ano na ba yung kita?
So just move to select.
Move to select.
Like that, my tour guide, I think.
My other tour guide.
There's also Google Earth, but I think the my tour guide is more exciting.
Ayun, naglakad na.
Oh, save! May ulap po.
And then click the shutter.
Saan yung shutter?
There. So you can go to another place.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool. So anyone can just approach me and try this.
Yeah.
Bigyan niyo na calling card.
There. And then another awesome project by Google. It's called Project Ara. It's like a modular phone where you can plug anything you need.
This is a frame. We call it the endo. And these are modules. It's an application. I disconnected the battery. That's a speaker. And this is another speaker. I want my ARA in stereo today. Enabling all of this is what we believe to be the first UniPro switch network. And running it all is Greybox. There you go. Running the latest Android version. Let me show you something else. Launch the camera. Of course, I know that today I didn't configure a camera, but let's see how
Yeah, so
easy
it's like a plug and play camera hardware.
to your device. This is a camera module. I connect it, and it's that simple. There you go.
Pretty awesome, right?
Alright. So, why don't we take the first public picture with Ara? Alright. Alright guys, smile for the picture. Let's see. Oh, you all look awesome.
I think that's just it. So I went to the booth, but apparently there's no actual Ara phone there. So it's just like an illustration. Like the example that they did is, for example, I'm going to a camping or a trekking, and I need let's say a night camera vision. So I can just unplug any module from my phone and then plug what I need. So very promising, but I think it's a very, very long way to go for them. Yeah, and this girl, she's she's a Googler, one of the engineers for Project Ara. And she's also friendly because she's also the one who talked to me first. Yeah. I haven't asked the question. Sorry. There. So there were different sessions in the event after the keynote. So one of the session that I attended is the what's new in Android developer tools, because of course it's our weapon in this industry. So for the Android Studio version 1.3, they enhanced the code debugging and added editing for C or C++ code for Android NDK and game developers. So if you've tried the debugger in the older version of Android Studio, when you get a value, for example, for a variable, let's say it only says 0, but in the version 1.3, it says the representation of that value in your code. Like for example, in toes.length long or toes.length short, it's equivalent to 1 and 0, right? So instead of just the value 1 and 0 appearing in your debugger, so it can now also show the description of that value. And this one is just for the C++ code. So it has some sort of IntelliSense as well. And then this one is on the technical side now. So they also introduced the instance ID or IID. It's an identity authority to uniquely identify your user. Because like previously, let's say in Babel, what we use to uniquely identify a user, for example, for our password is the IMEI, right? But not all devices can return an IMEI. So now, developers can use IID to identify their users uniquely, even if they don't have any username or logging in mechanism. So the Google Cloud Messaging is now also using the IID. So currently in all our projects, we're still using the registration IDs that we get from the Google Play services. But for the new version of Google Cloud Messaging, they're also using the IID to identify to which device message should be pushed. But the old registration IDs will still work, but in the future, all of the registrations in GCM must be this one already. So, where's Ruel? Ruel, for the VCM, because right now in our Voyager cloud messaging, we're still using the registration IDs, right? So, I think we should utilize this one as well. There. And what I also like the new GCM receiver and the GCM listener service class, because before, the way we listen for push notifications in Android devices is we just register the intent filter for GCM, right? And there's no specific if the message is actually a registration ID or the message itself. So in the GCM receiver, they have this on message received method already. So you're sure that the push notification is for the actual message itself, not just the registration or any other things.
What's the thing that says iOS?
Oh yeah, it's also now working for iOS. So you register for the GCM platform, and you don't need to like create another, let's say, instance for APN for the Apple push notification. So via GCM, you can send push notifications to all iOS devices as well. Because in the previous years, you can only use GCM for Android devices. Now you can push messages to iOS devices as well. And then they also introduced the GCM Network Manager. So this one is really helpful when you need to schedule background tasks. Like for example, in Babel, when you sync contacts, you don't need to manually implement your own alarm scheduler for that. You can use GCM Network Manager and specify that your job or your task will only execute with these conditions. For example, if the user is in Wi-Fi, and if the user is and if the phone is plugged into a power outlet. So yeah, very useful for all the apps that we currently have now. And then this one, the app invites beta. So they're previously in Lollipop, they pushed the material design, right? So it's their effort to like establish a uniform UI for all Android apps, just like how iOS did it in many years ago. So the app invites beta is a tool for us to share your app. Like for example, in Bubble, we have this share button, right? And then it will launch the contact, the phone book, and then it will send a message to that contact to try this app. So with this one, they have a uniform UI for that already. So we don't need to implement it from scratch. There. And Keynote, they highlighted in the Android M that Android M is the version where they just polish things, bug fixes, and improvement of a lot of things. So when I attended the session, they emphasized on the importance of properly testing your apps. And in fact, they also announced the Cloud Test Lab. So we can now also test our apps via cloud. It's together with the Google Play console that we have. So when you log into our Google Play developer console, beside in your application, there's a Cloud Test Lab menu there where you can select devices on which you can run your application. But right now, it's still in sign up mode. So when I opened our Play console a few days ago, it's still not there. So maybe in the coming months, they will launch it already. So going back to what I was saying earlier, so they're really emphasizing on testing the apps properly. So when we ask what are the tools that we should use for testing, they brought us back to a very simple, basic testing, which is the unit testing. Because according to them, it doesn't matter if you have like automation testing. For example, like you use Robotium, but you did not do unit test in your app. It's very important that we as developers implement unit testing in our apps. I think my team, Sam and Chuck, we've been discussing before my I/O trip on how we will have like a standard for the unit testing, or at least developer side testing of our apps, because there are so many tools out there and you don't know which one to use. So in the session that I attended there, so they introduced us to JUnit and Mockito. So JUnit is like a local testing for your apps. So it will run in the Java virtual machine. So you don't have the actual Android.jar over there. So for example, if you're testing an app that uses, for example, the context from Android.jar, you need Mockito for that. So I show you how it works. For example, here in there. So this is the Takatak Android app. So I created a utility test for the utility class in our project. So our utility class basically just appends the app version name and UTM content to any URLs that I'll show Takatak app first. Because what the product wants to have is for them to enable, if for example a certain transaction or a purchase was actually done via a Nexus phone, a Telpad, or a browser, a typical browser. So in our app, we have appended some informations, and we call it UTM content in the URL. So for example, this one is takatak.com/categories. And then we will append the device information, etc., etc. So to test that this method is actually doing his job correctly, you just create in the test folder. You need to create a test folder and name it utility test, since I'm referring to my utility class. And then create, so with this annotation, add test. So I created a method to test the get appended URL, this one. And then this is the actual string value that my method from here is returning. And this is my expected result. So when I run the app, it should not show an error that is not like this. So to test this, I forgot to mention that you need to add the JUnit library in your dependency. So if I run this, don't forget to select unit test for this one. You can actually run it over here instead of the app. If you select the app, it's the one that will launch your Android app, right? So just right click, or this one, right click and then run. So it will prompt you if the unit test is successful or not. So for this one, as you can see, I'm not using any Android APIs. So it's purely Java. So the JUnit will still work. Now for this one, so the test get appended URL didn't have any error, but it saw an error here in get device ID. So like for example, I need to test if my app can actually get the device ID side only. So for that, you just use mojito.mock telephony manager.class, and then you can assign expected value. So for example, that if this method, the telephony manager that get the device ID, is called in your program, you will return the result 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for example, if the context that get system service, context that telephony service is called, you will return your mock telephony manager. So if you have your mock values for your telephony manager, your context, and the actual device ID, you can now run your get device ID method here. So this is the real Android code for our get device ID. So in my utility test, I'm actually calling get device ID from my code, but at the same time, I'm inputting a mocks for the telephony manager and for the context, because it's not available in JUnit. So you need to mock them. So you will see that my expected value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, but my actual value is 1, 2, 345. So it threw an error. That's because in my while I mock the telephony manager that get device ID, I put 12345. So of course, if I put 123456, the error should not be there anymore. There. So it says that my app is healthy, no error. Any question on the unit testing and in Mockito? Okay. So since I've been talking a lot about learn from Google I/O, I also learned some simple stuff from AnDevCon. So they showed us some performance tips. So number one is obvious. So avoid creating unnecessary objects or memory allocations. So as long as your code can live without assigning that value to a variable, just directly pass that value instead of creating variables. I think it's one of the luxury that we have in Java. That's why we tend to overlook on simple things like that. And then the avoid internal getters and setters. So for example, you're just accessing the same variable in the same class. You don't need to put it in a get method and call it that method. Of course, for the OOP way of designing a class where you can expose methods like, for example, get name, get email, of course that makes sense. But if it's within the same Java class, you don't need to do internal getters and setters. And then the next one is use static final when appropriate. So this one is a typical, for example, this one is a variable field. So the average time to access this field is 63 milliseconds. A static variable, slightly slower than variable, so it's 67 milliseconds. A constant field is faster than the variable field. So it's also important that if you're pretty sure that your value doesn't change or your variable will not change, so just always use final or final static, because the final static constant field, they're the fastest variables out there. And then I think I forgot to put it in the slides. The one that for Java or Android developers, another most frequent coding style that I see that I learned is not really efficient is normally in Java you can create a inner Java class, right? And then there's a global private variable, and the global private variable you access it in your inner Java class. Yes, it will compile, and yes, it will run, but for your system to actually do that reading of the private variable, it will create like a synthetic method, so another expensive operation just to actually read that value. So we have to be careful on those kinds of things as well, because pretty much small tasks to do but have a great impact on the quality of apps that we are doing.
You should be doing inner classes anyway. It's about practice.
Yep. But from the codes that I've read,
Android kasi medyo counter ano siya eh. Lot of things are realized during runtime and you create your class during runtime, which is really weird. Pero as much as possible, you have to separate it.
Yep. So when I do code reviews with my team as well, that's on the initial reviews that I have with them, I also noticed that pattern. But yeah, I pointed to my team that it's not proper to do that already. So yeah. And then these are some various libraries that will be useful for Android developers. So it's published by Willow Tree Apps. So this one can easily be found in the internet. So Willow Tree is one of the speaker in AnDevCon. So it's like they're like the Voyager of the USA, something like that. It's like a innovation or technology company as well. They do different apps as well. And from what I realized in attending AnDevCon, I realized that we as Voyager engineers were really very competent when it comes to the international developer conference like this, because we're doing this, we're using things that they're also using, and we're actually even more advanced on some companies that I met them. There's this one guy that I met. He works for Flipagram. Have you used that? So I asked him if what are the tools they're using. So apparently they were still using the Ant building system, the Eclipse version, and they just recently migrated to Gradle because of Android Studio. So last year when I went to AnDevCon, we were already migrating to Maven because Gradle is not yet officially released by Google that time. But I can say that the timing of the updates, or wala na si Alfred na magtatagalog na nga ako, nahihirapan ako eh. So, wait, so ganun yung gusto ko i-explain. Parang so ganun yung gusto ko i-explain. Sobrang yung tools and yung knowledge that we have in Voyager, I can proudly say na we're really one of the best. Kasi there are these famous companies in USA na hindi pinagdaanan yung Ant, Maven, and Gradle. Parang Ant plus Gradle lang sila kagad. Pero tayo, every time may new technology, lagi nating tinatry. So, yun yung proud ako while talking to them sa mga ibang engineers na nandun. So, I think we have the best culture here kasi we discover things together, and yeah, I think yun yung biggest takeaway na natutunan ko sa trips na napuntahan ko. So I'm very proud of being here in Voyager, and I'm very proud of yeah, so yun yung closing remarks ko. And this, ay pala, meron palang IO after party. So, sobrang cool kasi may band silang in-invite. Tapos, ang daming food trucks. So, only free food. Yun. So, ayun. Yun lang. Thank you.
Guys, may questions pa kayo?
Selfie.
Questions? Violent reactions? Okay lang na i-per. Kaso ginagamit na to, meron siyang sweat mark.
Walang kahit hindi intelligent questions, sige.
Sino magtatanong kanya na to? Or dapat intelligent questions? Or hindi naman intelligent? Or any comments?
Comments, ang ganda ng show.
So there. So sana may natutunan
Si
ng
Alexa meron to.
Naka-live stream yan.
Minimit ba ko ibang Asians? Yung ganyan yung picture dun sa, yung babaeng Googler, di ba sa gitna namin may Asian doon? Filipina siya, pero dun siya lumaki. Tapos UI designer siya. Tapos may mga Asian, mga Japanese, gano'n. Marami. sobrang tawag dito, sobrang diverse yung yung attendees. Nakakatuwa. Tapos may dun sa event, di ba may mga beanbags? Yung pinost ko sa Voyager na Facebook. May beanbags, tapos may parang only pretzels or parang premix na nuts.
May pretzels dun sa beanbag.
Sa tabi.
Uy, gusto ko yung gumasawa na.
Ayun, so.
Habang tumatagal lumilit yung sinukuha.
Unique idea. Talaga iba sila mag-isip. Sa beanbag.
Sa'yo na, Felix, ah.
Walang phone, ha? Baka may phone. Other questions? Ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Sige. So, Ayne, thank you very much.
Alright, thanks guys for coming.
Basta na ko sa Bali, di ba?